Hello and namaste everyone. Me, Agrim Paudel, would like to welcome every one of you in my tutorial. First of all, I'd like to thank my statistics teacher, Mr. Deepak Das George sir, and Department of Science and Humanities, Kantipur Engineering College, for providing me such an opportunity to present some of my knowledge with you all. Before proceeding towards the topic, I'd like to say a few things. The language of my presentation is in English and Nepali. So, if there is any grammatical mistakes in my English as well as Nepali, please do forgive me, as English is not my first language. Now, first of all, I'd like to start with the part 4 of the statistics, that is testing of hypothesis. Let me share my screen with you. Testing of hypothesis. Here, let me start with an example. Let us suppose that a marketing company manager states that he has begun a new system of increasing more productivity than he had done before. After bringing the new system of productivity, his marketing or say his marketing of productivity has increased. That is, let us assume that if his rate of productivity before beginning the new system was mu1, and after beginning the new system his market productivity rate is mu2, then he said that it is it has increased it has increased. The manager has said this, and let us assume that it is our hypothesis given by our manager. And but we need to check whether this statement is true or not. So we again write its conjugate hypothesis. Let us denote it by H1, such that mu1 is the productivity rate before introducing the new system was good or was better than, or equal with the productivity rate after he brought the new system. Here we wrote h naught equals to mu1 is less than mu2 and h1 equals to mu1 is greater than or equal to mu2. Here h naught means alternate null hypothesis. Here h naught means null hypothesis and h1 means alternate hypothesis. Let us read what it is been given for null hypothesis. The proposed value or idea or the manufacturer's claim will be considered as H naught or say null hypothesis, and the claim against or difference in agreement with expressed by the manager would be alternative hypothesis denoted by H1. This is the initial step in order to check or test the hypothesis. Now we proceed to step 2. Here, in step 2, we declare the level of significance. Level of significance is also known or said to be conjugate of the level of confidence. Level of significance can also be denoted as risk level. Level of significance is denoted by alpha, and we might have heard that the product is 99% sure and safe. We know that Dettol gives 99.9% free of germs, that it is given confidence level. And we know that this seclude at least 1 or 0.01% from the 100%, which means there is still some chance of risk. That is known as risk level or say significance level. It is denoted by alpha. In step 2, we have to check that whether it is a left tail test, right tail test, or two tail test. We check this by doing here in the above mentioned example. I have done this, and it is not the correct way to express this, so I'm going to make it correct by doing this. These are denoted by delta. Here it is been given 0. This is the value. Delta means this. We are gonna need delta in the later step. So let me explain this process here. As now, as we get this symbol over here in alternate hypothesis, that is greater than or equal to symbol in hypothesis, it means that it implies right tail test. And if we get this type of symbols, this type, or say this and this, greater than or equal to symbol, then it implies right tail test. And if it gives less than or equal to symbol, then it implies left tail test. And if it gives not equal to sign, then it implies that it is two tail test. Say two tail test. There might be a question arising in the mind that why we need this type of things. We do need this type of things, that right tail test, whether it is right tail test or left tail test, or it is two tail test, because let me explain you. When we plot a graph in step 4, a bell-shaped graph is obtained because the sample would be from normal distribution. Let's assume it is a bell-shaped graph, and if the graph is left-tailed or right-tailed or two-tailed, first we are not sure that whether it is which-tailed, so it is necessary to check these things first. So if the if it is implicated as a right tail test, we calculate t tabulated and then we plot it somewhere over here, and then we do this and we start shading the right tail portion of the graph like this, and this shaded region is known as rejection region. And this unshaded portion is known as accepting region. Here, if our null hypothesis or the t calculated or z calculated value of the null hypothesis falls under this region, then we can say that we accept null hypothesis, or no, it falls under this category, then we say that we reject null hypothesis. Similarly, let me erase this first. Similarly, if the graph is left-tailed, then we have to plot the value of t tabulated at the left tail portion of the graph and set this portion, and hence this denotes rejection region, and unsetted portion denotes accepting region, and rest is the same. If H0 falls under accepting region, then we accept H0. If T calculation falls under rejection region, then we reject H0. And for now, let me discuss about two-tailed graph. For two-tailed test, we demark, or say we imply the shaded region at both tail portion of the graph, bell-shaped graph like this, and the both shaded portion denotes rejection region, and the remaining portion which is unshaded denotes acceptation region, or say accepting region. And rest is the same, that is, if the H0 falls under, whether H0 falls under this category, it is said that H0 is accepted. Whether the H0 falls under this category, or say region, H0 is rejected. Simply say null hypothesis is rejected. So now let me proceed with few other things which are to be done at the step 2, declaring the level of significance. Whether the graph is left-tailed or right-tailed, the level of significance denoted is alpha, is denoted by alpha. We need these things in T-tabulation part. At T-tabulation, we are going to need whether to take alpha or alpha by 2 and degree of freedom. When the graph is left-tailed or right-tailed, we take alpha. And when the graph is two-tailed, if two-tailed, then only we write alpha by 2. Because here, single portion of the graph is shaded. Over here, two portion of the graph is shaded. So we take like this. Now, let me go to the next step, which one is calculation. Calculation step. Here we calculate the test statistics, which is generally given by theta cap minus E theta cap whole upon S E theta cap. Theta is the population parameter, theta cap is the sample statistic, E theta cap is the claimed value, normally right hand side of the H0, or say or null hypothesis, right hand side of the H0 or null hypothesis, and SE is the standard error of the sample statistic. Standard error of the sample statistic. Here generally standard error is denoted as sigma x by root n. We are gonna need this formula at later portion of this video. Now, for calculation part, I'm gonna show you few papers I prepared here. For testing of hypothesis, we are supposed to take this test statistics table, because we might sometimes test single mean test or single proportion test, two mean testing or mean proportion testing, more than two mean testing, or ANOVA analysis of variance testing. It can also be said as, or more than two mean testing, two proportion testing. I'm sorry to say that, more than two proportion testing, or we can also say chi-square test, and then here also types of sample we are gonna need, whether it is a small sample or large sample, or a small sample but it is from normal population. It is from normal population, that is for small samples and parent population unknown, and for large samples or small samples from normal population. And for the given question that I am going to explain today, we are gonna need two mean testing, whether the sample is from population but unknown population SD, whether the sample is from normal population with known population SD, or both the sample sizes are 30 or large. So now let us proceed towards our question. But before that, I'd love to explain step 4. In step 4, as I told you, we are gonna need a t-tabulation and its graph. For t-tabulation, we find out whether we need to take t alpha, alpha or alpha by 2, and then we are going to take t alpha or alpha by 2, comma, degree of freedom. Degree of freedom is denoted as degree of freedom is denoted as n1 plus n2 minus 2. Here, generally it is written as n1 minus 1 plus n2 minus 1. On solving this, we get this. df equals to n1 plus n2 minus 2. Now, let me proceed towards the question. First of all, we have been given the question number 9 of page number 116 from the Handbook of Probability and Statistics written by our DDZ sir. Question number 9. Let me explain it. The diameter of steel rods manufactured under two different extrusion motions is being investigated. Two random samples of size n1 equals to 15 and n2 equals to 17 are selected, and the mean sample means and variances are x1 bar equals to 8.73 and s1 square is given, x2 bar is given, and s2 square is given respectively, and assuming that sigma 1 square and sigma 2 square are equal and that the data are drawn from a normal distribution, is there evidence to support the claim that two machines produce rods with different mean diameters using alpha equals to 0.05 in arriving at this conclusion? It was given at 2072 Karthik board exam of probability and statistics for IOE 4th semester. Now, let me proceed towards the solution. Stop share. I'm sorry for this interval. Now let us proceed. The given two sample size are n1 equals to 15 and n2 equals to 17 respectively, and the sample means and variances are given. Sigma 1 square and sigma 2 square is equal, but it is unknown population standard deviation. So we use that samples, those samples are small samples, but we know that it is from normal population, normal distribution, and the population standard deviation is unknown. So we proceed as this. Step 1, setting up hypothesis. Null hypothesis, we knew that it has been said that, is there evidence to support the claim that two machine produces rods with different mean diameters? So it is the step one is there any evidence to prove that, is there any difference between the diameters produced by two different machines? And null hypothesis would be its conjugate. So we write yes, no, there is no any difference between the products, diameter produced by two different machines. And its conjugate would be alternative hypothesis. Since it is not equal to sign, we get two-tailed test. For step 2, the level of significance alpha equals to 0.05, but since it is two-tailed testing, we take alpha by 2, that is 0.025. Step 3, calculation portion. Since samples are small but are from normal distribution, so we write the given data, and it is also given that population distribution, population standard deviation is unknown. That's why we use T calculation. T calculation because, see over here, sampling is from normal distribution but population SD is unknown. We use T calculation. If the population SD is known, then we would have to write this formula. Since we are unknown, so we write this formula. And here we need to calculate pool of standard deviation. Pool of standard deviation is also given by SP square equals to N1 minus 1 whole times S1 square plus N2 minus 1 whole times S2 square whole upon N1 plus N2 by 2 minus 2. So on taking these formulas, we write, I already told you about this del, it is given 0 because look over here, it is 0, so we take del to be 0, and we calculate pool of standard deviation as follows. It gives 0.6137, and then T calculation is calculated as 8.73 minus 8.68 minus 0 whole upon 0.6137 root under 1 by 15 plus 1 by 17. We calculate T calculation to be 0.230, and now we calculate degree of freedom to be 30. I already explained to you about the degree of freedom. Now we proceed towards step 4. For step 4, tabulated values and their graphs. T tabulated is calculated as T alpha by 2 comma degree of freedom, that is T 0.025 comma 30. Its value is 2.042. Let's check whether its value is 2.042 or not. Okay, now statistical tables. Here, this is students' T distribution table, and 0.025 is over here, and degree of freedom is over here. We are being given degree of freedom as 30, and this one is for 0.01. Sorry, 0.005. This one is for 0.01 and 0.025. And 0.025 and 30, it gives 2.042. Yes, we are correct that the value is 0.025 comma 0.025 comma 30. Its value is 2.042. Now, as we know that the test is two-tailed test, we draw the graph like this and mark at both ends of the graph. Mark at both tails of the graph, that is at left tail and as well as at right tail. Both are rejection region, and the remaining unshaded portion is the accepting region. And we tabulated 2.042 using common sense. We know that mm, mm, when it falls under left side of this y axis of the coordinate graph Cartesian plane, we know that the value is negative, and at the right part of the Cartesian plane it is positive. So we mark minus 2.042 and plus 2.042 within the bell-shaped graph from the normal distribution. Now whether to check H naught or null hypothesis falls under acceptation region or rejection region. Since T calculation is 0.230, it falls under acceptation region. It falls under acceptation region. So as the null hypothesis falls under accepting region, we can say that we accept null hypothesis and reject alternative hypothesis. Thus, it is 95% sure that there is no sufficient evidence to support the claim that two machines produces rods with different mean diameters. Now, let us proceed. Now, let us proceed towards the next question, which is from different topic. Now I am going to explain you different topic, or it's a different type of question which also falls under part 4 of the statistics, that is calculation with the help of scientific calculators, Excels, MATLABs, etc. Here a problem is being given, that is following data gives 50 samples of speed kilometer per hour of vehicles traveling in an intersection of a busy road. 50 different speed samples are given. We need to find average, estimate average speed of the vehicles, find the sample unbiased standard deviation and standard error of speed of the vehicles. Also test consistency by applying suitable formula. It also came during 2072 MARC board exam. Now, let me explain the process which I have done. This is the solution of question number 28, page number 120 of Handbook of Probability and Statistics, written by our DDG sir. Given is n equals to 50 samples of speed kilometer per hour, and it is a large sample, that is n greater than 30. Though it is not required, I just wrote it. And then this is the given tabulated values. Here the given problem is solved. I have solved this problem using FX991 ES plus calculator, that is this type of calculator. This calculator, this one is FX991 ES plus of Casio. Now, to estimate average speed of vehicles, and then to find sample unbiased standard deviation and standard error of speed of vehicles, and to test the consistency. Now performing the following key operations. First, we need to clear our memory, because sometimes it might get sometimes the calculator might give error calculations, so it is better to clear our memory. Therefore, we first follow this procedure. Here, shift 9 3 shift, then 9, then press 3, then equals to, then AC. Let me demonstrate this process. Let me demonstrate this process. Shift 9, it gives you this type of output. This is the output. Then I press 3 over here, 3, and it gives again this type of output. Here we do S by pressing equal to sign, and then we press AC. Now calculation portion, we off the frequency. Following this process, shift, then mode, then down, we get 4, we press 4, then we press 2. It gives us the result frequency is off. Let me demonstrate it. On shift, then mode, then we press down, and then we get here 4 stat. So we press 4, 4, and frequency we must do off. So I press 2. Now for calculation, important calculations, mode 3. Then first we press mode, we press 3, then we press 1. It gives us one variable. Then we input data as 54 equals to 65 equals to 58 equals to 59, and so on till the last value 64 equals to 64. And now in order to calculate, estimate the average speed of the vehicle, we follow the next procedure. We press AC, we press shift, then we press 1, then we press 4, then we press 2, then we press equals to, then result. Result gives x bar equals to average speed of the vehicle, average speed which is being followed within that track, that is 58.04 km per hour, which is average estimated vehicle speed of the vehicles. Let me demonstrate it. I press here. First of all, on mode is being pressed, then stat is at 3, so I press 3, and for one variable it is at 1, so I press 1, and then I input 54, 65, 58, 59, and so on, and then again in order to calculate the mean, or say estimating average, we again do AC, then I press shift, then press 1, then for mean, finding mean and standard deviation, we press variable that is at 4, so I press 4. For mean, we need to find out standard mean, so sample mean, so I press 2, it gives mean. It gives mean. And again, in order to find sample unbiased standard deviation, we do the data is already inputted already been input, so I press AC, and pressing shift 1, it gives us stat mode, and then again we press 4 for finding standard deviation, and whether it is sample standard deviation or population standard deviation. Let's find out both in this question. First of all, I will find out sample unbiased ST, so I press 4, it gives this output, and we press equals to and find out the solution. And now standard error, it is given as standard error SE equals to sigma x by root n. So we need to find out population standard deviation as well. Following the same process, we get population standard deviation, but sample standard deviation is in 4 and standard population standard deviation is in 3. That is now. After finding these things, we find out standard error. And for next process or next question, it has been asked that test consistency. We test consistency over here. For consistency, variance is needed. Sx square equals to 76.0384 kilometer per hour square. For variance, finding variance, we square the standard deviation. And now, for finding coefficient of variance, COV Sx, Sx by x bar into 100%. This is the formula for finding coefficient of variation. That is, we get 15.024% using sample unbiased standard deviation. And using population standard deviation, we get 14.87% as coefficient of variation. Now, in order to conclude that whether it is consistent or not, whether the test is consistent or test or not, we write as, since coefficient of variation is less than, that is, has lower variability rate of variability is low, so the speeds are more consistent. The speed is consistent. It has been tested that the speeds are consistent within the given segment of the busy road, or say intersection of the busy road. Thank you, friends. Now we are at the end of our tutorial. If there is any problem regarding my explanation, please do comment below the video. And this is my first trial of teaching and recording, so please consider some verbal errors that I have made, specifically grammatical errors that I have made, because English is not my first language. I hope you liked my tutorial. If you liked, please do like, comment, share and subscribe. Please subscribe my channel. And if the views get more, then I would love to upload next tutorial as well. Thank you.